Thank you, Sakshi. We just had wonderful presentation from Depali, where she has been talking. She talked about the customer experience and how understanding that customer experience is transforming Taj into a very consumer-friendly hospitality organization. And if we come to retail, similar things are happening. Consumer behavior is changing, especially after the pandemic, which we all had faced. The technology is transforming not only the operations, but also the customer experience. If I could start with you, Neeraj, you have been operating in UAE market for long. And UAE market, although is very similar to India, but yet, it is different. The brick and mortar has still, a lot of attraction here. When we go back home, the digital commerce is taking a lot of our mind space. But here, we see that the experience in the malls, in the shops, and other places is still there. So how are you blending, technology into those places so that the consumer behavior can be enhanced? Neeraj?
Sure. So thank you so much. And it's an honor and pleasure to be here. So coming to your question, so at the Apparel Group, we operate close to 2,400 stores across 14 countries and roughly about 1,900 plus in the GCC. We also run a large e-commerce business by the name of sixstreet.com and also run a lot of the brand.coms. And at the bedrock of our ecosystem is our loyalty program, which is Club Apparel. So I have been in a lot of panels and we always used to be asking and speaking on this thing about phygital, digital, and how the world is changing. And post-COVID, and with all the technological advances you can see means each of the retailers today is in the world of omnichannel or now what they call connected commerce. So it's no more digital versus physical, but it's how you catch the consumer. We were discussing with Marcos earlier, the consumer journey starts with digital. 75% of the time he has done all his research or looked at it online, and then the transaction may end up at the retail store or otherwise. So more and more everybody is now connected omni-channel. So at ours also means we are a true omni-channel piece. So you can buy online, you can refund at the store, exchange at the store, or whichever way. We have click and collect at the stores. The Club Apparel, you can earn points online, burn offline, and vice versa. So it's a true omni-channel piece. And we also use our retail stores as the fulfillment centers for the customer means who wants to order online. And just recently we have started quick commerce. So we are now doing a 60-minute delivery and we don't have any separate dark stores for that, but we use our fleet of those 1,900 odd stores in the region, which become the fulfillment centers. So it's a true omni-channel connected world that we operate today.
And Mr. Kuruvilla, how do you see this scenario? Especially, when we talk about the Indian experience, most of us are now looking at, the digital commerce in a big way. So it has already taken 17-18% of the commerce. And quick commerce, which Neeraj is referring to, is now becoming a very reality. But still, there are products and the price tags. We are price tag conscious, plus we are also conscious that, the products which are of a certain value terms, we want to experience. So what is your strategy? How are you placing? Because most of the Titan products come in the both categories. So help us in understanding that scenario.
Sure. Thanks, Anilesh. And let me start by saying that completely agree with what Neeraj just said, and I think that's the story that we've experienced. But let me give you a sort of a contra flavor from one of our companies, and that's Caratlane. So when we acquired Caratlane in 2016, it was an online-driven company, a born digital company. And the interesting thing then was 99.5% of Caratlane's revenues were online. They had about 7 stores at that point in time. And the reason Mithun came to Titan was because he realized that the sweet spot is in the middle. You can't just be digital. You can't just be an incumbent physical company. You got to be in both spaces. At that point in time, Caratlane was about 600 crores. Today, they crossed 4,000 crores last year. And take a guess as to what percentage of their revenue is online now. It used to be 99.5%. Anybody wants to take a shot at it? So today, Caratlane's online revenue has dropped to 8%. Their in-store revenue is 92%. Right? And this was a company that was born digital. So in a way that illustrates, Neeraj, what you were saying that, but where do Caratlane customers discover the products? They spend more time online with the products. But finally, when they come in and buy, they buy in the stores now. Right? So that's really the reality of the omnichannel world. You cannot afford not to have digital presence. If you do not have digital presence, what is going to dry up is your store walk-ins are going to dry up. Your physical sales will dry up. And I think the key thing to understand is in every category, there's a price point below which people are very comfortable buying online. So in India, in watches, for example, it's about $40 or say 3,500, 4,000 rupees. Anything below that, people are happy to go online, buy it. Anything above that, they would prefer to see it in the stores. In jewelry, that threshold point is about around $200. So this varies category to category, and in a category like jewelry, if you get to 10% sales online, it's exciting. But in a category like watches, anything less than 25-30% sales online, is par for the course. So that's the story. Can't ignore online. You need to combine the two. Sweet spot is in the middle.
So omnipresence is the omnichannel's existence point. So Neeraj, if I can come to you, in Dubai, a lot of experience is in stores, and many of the retail players are investing a lot of technologies, AVRs or VRs, then artificial intelligence. What is your philosophy behind deploying these technologies?
Sure, I think so. With the technological advancements, there's been a lot of new technologies which have come, and even the landlords over here or the brands are now pushing to build stores of the future. And what do I mean by store of the future is a combination of full experience and digital transformation for the customer at the store level. Now this includes for us, like in a Tommy Hilfiger store with smart mirrors. This includes for us the phygital store which we have established in Dubai Hills Mall. That's, by the way, the first in the region, and you should check out while you are here. So this includes for us mobile point of sale for the frictionless checkout. In the bigger stores, we even have the frictionless checkouts like you have in the hypermarkets. So all these technologies have came in the near future. So these are more on the customer-facing side. Even the loyalty means it's an app. When we started first Club Apparel in 2011, we were NFC based. So we were never on the plastic cards as well. So because we believe that the consumer will never forget a mobile phone at his home. So we were always thinking, how can you move technologically first? And Sixth Street Phygital Store is a similar example. But there are a lot of technologies which we invest at the back of the house, which is giving the results in terms of the customer experience and customer journey so far. And these includes a lot of AI tools, a lot of GPT tools, a lot of them. We implemented in-store transfer optimization, markdowns optimization, price optimization, allocation optimization. All of these trigger itself to see means where the product should be, where the consumer is. So these are all the algorithms built at the back means, and this is creating the positive consumer journey.
So if I, if I wear a hat of a, one of the auditors or financial guy, I understand that by putting technology at back end and operations, you can cut costs. But if you put in, customer experiences, how do you factor this investment in calculating your ROCE or EBITDA? What is the maths and science behind that?
So the way we look at it is the technology which, few years back, if you look at it, means was not at the same level in terms of its use case, what it is in terms of today. with the various AI and ML tools. So let me give you an example. Means sixstreet.com has a phygital store in Dubai Hills, which I mentioned. The whole mall has got about 550 brands. That one store carries 1,300 brands. It's a 10,000 square feet store, 2,000 front of the house, 8,000 back of the house. Now, how do you ensure that you carry the best of the SKUs in the same store with the 1,300 brands? So let's say you tried an item, you didn't like it, right? I tried that, I didn't like it. Marcos tried it, he didn't like it. The system already triggers that this should be replaced from here. So that ML which is running at the back gives you so much of intelligence that, and these technologies were way too expensive in the past, but today that's not the case.
So are you also working with those technology players to develop that to your demand, or how does that business works?
So we would work with most of the established players in this one, but customize it to our requirements. We are now also building a state-of-the-art distribution center in Jebel Ali and in Doha as well, which has again got the automation to its next level. If I give you an example, when we built in Jebel Ali our second DC, the cost of picking an item or storing an item, one unit, used to be somewhere in 240 fills. Today, with the new technology, it's under 50 fills. So the way the technology has become cheaper today, and whether it's RFID or any other one, the impact of that is miles ahead of it, the cost.
Mr. Kuruvilla, if I can come to you, you are one of the dominating players in India. You have a significant presence in UAE. What sort of synergies do you see, these two geographies can offer? And what sort of experiences do you carry home when you see, things moving around very fast in Dubai? And in India, the new age customers are now taking, a lot of decisions to buy products. So help us in understanding this.
So certainly these two markets or regions have been wedded at the hip for a long time. So commerce and trade between the Middle East and India did not start yesterday or last century. It started, 2,000, 3,000, maybe 4,000 years ago. So there's a deep connect, including back in Kerala, where I am from, and what Deepika showed, right? I mean, the travel between the Arabs and Kerala happened a long time ago because of the spice trade. So I think that connect is certainly there, and that continues. And like Deepika mentioned in her presentation, India is one of the largest source destinations for tourists traveling into the UAE. And therefore, that exchange continues. From our perspective, when we looked at coming into or taking our businesses international, watches business has always been present in this market for over 30 years. But when we looked at taking jewelry outside of India, the logical place to come to was the Middle East. We are clearly going after the diaspora market, and therefore it made sense to bring Tanishq here. And we did bring Tanishq, though what we did is we adapted the templates and the way we were looking at it, changing that a little bit to suit what was required in these markets. So for example, the formats of stores here are much smaller than in India. In India, some of our stores are 30,000 square feet. There's the Southex jewelry store is probably going to cross 1,000 crores of revenue this year, one single store. So, I mean, obviously that size and scale is not what you have here in the UAE, and therefore the formats had to be adapted. Another aspect was that in UAE, the jewelry selling was very transactional. You were selling to tourists, you were selling to customers. The levels of customer service that Tanishq was providing in India were not really the norm here. For example, even something as simple as seating in the stores was not really there. A lot of it was come in, quickly do a deal, walk out, right? Or even haggle over a discount. So some of those things in terms of bringing transparency in pricing, bringing a higher level of customer service, I think we've been able to alter the way the market functioned. So these are some of the practices that came in from India into the UAE, and I think the market is better for that now. On the other hand, UAE is the cradle of retail. I mean, like what Neeraj said, and all you have to do is walk around some of the malls here, and you'll see the level of retail sophistication that is certainly missing in India. India is not there as yet, right? So some of that, taking it back, some of the let's say, facade treatments that you would see in some of the malls. And you just have to look at some of the international brands that are here. Or take a mall like the Dubai Hills Mall. I mean, if you go there and look at the flagship stores that are there, every single brand, they've gone out of their way to make sure that their store looks good.
So if I could, hold you on, tell us, how you are making these stores not just a transactional, experience, maybe, more of a experiential experience to the consumers. So, Neeraj was giving us an example that smart mirrors have been installed in some of their client stores. So, are you also making similar?
So, a lot of our focus has been on. So, one of the things that you've got to kind of realize here is that the big change that has happened in retail over time is that it moved from a situation where there was not too many choices to now where you have the opposite. You have a plethora of choices, and sometimes consumers struggle with what to pick, right? So to me, and that's what we are focusing on, is that the game is changing towards a level of personalization. So how do I know you as Anilesh? How do I know what you're interested in? How do I know what you've purchased? How do I know what you've been surfing on my websites? And how do I build an equation with you where I'm able to predict what you're likely to be interested in? And how, from the myriad choices that I have on offer, let's say in Tanishq, there is something like 60,000 different SKUs. Now, obviously, you're not going to be interested in every single one of them. You'll be interested in a narrow subset of those. So how do we predict, figure out, and present to you saying, Anilesh, hey, these are things that we think you will like. So this whole aspect, I mean, look at what Netflix does today, right? Again, it's the thing. Earlier, you had to go to a theater to watch a movie. You had a limited set of choices. Now, on OTT, the choices are almost unending. And therefore, how do you figure out what to watch? I mean, sometimes you have this, you switch on the TV and you're surfing, I need to watch something and you're not sure, you can't settle down on what to watch, right? And that's where, say, Netflix's recommendations start to make a difference. So I think that's the name of the game. That's something that we are working on, saying how do we put in front of our customers the right set of choices that make it easy for them to pick.
So Neeraj, you also think that understanding the data sets is most essential thing for our omni-channel players, or do you think the algorithms, they can really push the consumer towards whatever product you want to sell, or still the consumer is the king?
No, consumer is definitely the king, and consumer is much more smarter than all of us here. So, like Markose was mentioning, we also have something similar in our stores. So we have got a QR code at the entrance of each of our stores. So if you scan the QR code, I know you as an individual, right? And then I can track all your journey with us, whether it's offline, whether it's online, whether it's at our marketplace, and so on. I can also get to know means what you browsed last night, what you are interested. And then that intelligence which comes to the store manager or the sales associate helps him to close the sale with you. So it's that curated collection that they will show you which is of your interest or which you were browsing or so on. So it helps that way, big time. I know means how Emirates takes care of its Platinum or IO members. We can't do that with facial recognition, but if you scan the QR code, you get the same experience at our stores. So if you're a black customer, you get a personalized shopper. He knows everything about you, and he will make sure means to give you all that comfort and close the sale with you.
This behavior of consumer and understanding that behavior is at a very nascent stage. We all understand that the consumers oriented technology, they are yet to mature. How do you see the future taking shape and some of the innovations are being made? So if you can help us in understanding the future technologies. So what are the things we need to look at in next 2 to 3 years? May I start with Neeraj?
So definitely AI, I think so we are all at early stages, or at least I can vouch for ourselves. At the Apparel Group, we are just at the early stages. I think so this will keep growing and keep getting bigger and bigger in the days to come. And it will be across the ecosystem, not just consumer facing, but also at the back of the end systems. We have just implemented something at the HR, which is about recruitment, screening the CVs, and all of those things. I think so. Some has been implemented into the supply chain, into the value stream. This we will see across the entire ecosystem. So AI is something we are currently going through a digital transformation, complete exercise at the Apparel Group level. So I am a big believer of this one, and I think so this will go a long way.
Mr. Kuruvilla, if you can help us, do you see technology taking, more mature shape in a year's time, 2 years' time to change the experiential behavior? What are the things you are envisaging?
So, it's certainly happening, and you see this through different stages of technology. So while today everybody is talking about generational AI, and that's certainly relevant, if you go back to something that Neeraj touched upon, the whole optimization dimension, right? So forecasting, predictions, all of those, like let's say in jewelry business, one of the things that becomes a struggle is that festivals like Diwali and Akshaya Tritiya, which just got over, are periods when there's a large amount of buying that happens. And you got to predict what merchandise you need at that time to be. And if you over-predict, you'll end up with unsold merchandise. If you under-predict, you'll end up with lost sales opportunities, right? So starting from forecasting as a format, predicting all of those kind of models, to moving to more sophisticated algorithms. For example, whenever our partners from around the world indent watches, we may not be able to give them the exact same, or we can't do 100% matching of that indent. But now we use AI-based technologies to give them the closest possible match. So we don't have the particular watch that they're requesting for, but here is another watch, similar, which will do the same job, but it's not that particular SKU, right? So in many ways like this, today, if you look at, we've also been in a way tracking within Titan Company, what is the level of digital or analytical-led influencing that we are creating. So we just crossed 50,000 crores as a company this financial year, Titan Company. And out of that, roughly about 10,000 crores of revenue, we can attribute back to being digitally influenced in some form. It originates in something that we are doing from a digital standpoint. So these are the ways in which technology influences revenue. It continues to do that. And now, let's say we use CRM platforms like Salesforce, and we use e-com platforms like Shopify. So again, using a lot of this to personalize what you are finally delivering. And to me, that is, I think, that game that will really change the face of retail. While some of us have privacy concerns and worry about how our data is being used, I think over time, the trade-off that you as a consumer will make is that you'll be willing to share your data with a responsible organization, provided the organization is able to then make things easier and a little bit better for you. So those are some of the directions that I think technology will start making changes.
Mr. Kuruvilla, if I can take you back when you were talking about your acquisition of Caratlane, I want to understand when you evaluate some of the e-commerce players, I'm sure many of them still would be coming to you. How do you ascertain from the technology point of view that, okay, I need to pick this up because this guy is perhaps using some technology which I can, scale up, or I can transform that into a brick and mortar, blend it and make it an omni-channel outlet. What is the thought process when you guys, pick up any e-commerce player, even for evaluation?
So I'd argue that it is there less about technology, more about what are the fundamentals, what is the problem that they are solving for, right? So while, for example, on quick commerce, there was a lot of skepticism saying, is this really required? Is this one more, unnecessary thing that we are doing? The interesting thing seems to be is there is a value that they are creating. There is a problem that they are solving for, right? So somewhere, I think it's less about the technology that you're per se using, but how you're using it. That's a belief. Actually, my first job in Titan was that of the Chief Digital Officer before I started looking after international business. And one of the things that I learned in that stint about technology is that a good rider on a bad horse is better than a bad rider on a good horse. So it's not so much the horse that matters, it's whether you know to ride the horse.
Thank you, Mr. Kuruvilla. I hope everyone in the audience, they will walk away with a deeper understanding of how retail is being reshaped, not just by algorithm, but by emotions, design, and human connections. Thank you very much. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you. Thank you.